I saw Caravaggio's Supper at Emmaus in the National Gallery in London. As soon as I entered the room, I really felt as if Caravaggio was screaming out to me, "Psst, come here, I have painted this one for you." What was it that attracted me to this painting? It was not just the size, it's about 1.5 meters high by 2 meters wide. It was not the gilded and elaborate frame. Mostly, it was those hands. Look at the hand of Jesus, and also on the other side, on the right-hand side of the painting, the hand of one of the pilgrims. They were calling me, they were inviting me, they were telling me, "Please come in, take a seat at the table. We left an empty space just for you." And so I did sit and did take my place at the table, and I began to take in the whole scene. I first focused on the figure of Jesus, youthful, androgynous, beardless, and then on the expression on his face, calm, serene, and reverent. One hand pointing above, as if now he's imploring from a power from above, the other hand over the bread in a gesture of blessing. Then I looked at the two disciples and the waiter. Look at the two disciples, their startled and amazed expression was in great contrast to the puzzled expression of the waiter. He doesn't understand what is going on. The disciple on the left, in his green and torn coat, is about to jump from his seat. The disciple on the right, with his eyes and arms wide open, in this moment of amazement and recognition. Why this reaction on their part? Only a few hours before, they were traveling from Jerusalem to their home in Emmaus, sad and downhearted. They were traveling back to a life rather empty of real hopes and real dreams. They had traveled to Jerusalem for the Passover festival. There they had met the new young teacher who had raised their sense of hope and expectation. But then on the Friday they saw him arrested, mocked, scourged, and finally crucified. Their hopes to rid the nation of the power of Rome has been shattered. But on the way home, another traveler joined them on the journey, and he actually set their hearts on fire, speaking to them about not endings but new hopes and new beginnings. And as they reached the village of Emmaus, they invited him to stay and to have supper with them. And this is where the painting captures the moment towards the end of the meal, when their companion took the bread, said the blessing, and handed it to them. The painting shows us the very moment when their eyes were open and they recognized that their companion was Jesus himself, the risen Lord. This painting by the 30-year-old Caravaggio caused incredible controversy, and Caravaggio himself received a great amount of criticism. But why? It wasn't just the beardless and androgynous Jesus. It wasn't just the colors, all these clashing primary colors, white and the green and the red and the brown and the orange. What was it that caused so much controversy? Two things mainly: the contents on the table and the portrayal of the two disciples. Firstly, look at the table. Yes, there is bread and wine, and please notice it's real wine and really freshly baked Italian bread. But what is the dead roasted chicken doing in the middle of the table? What about the fruit basket ready to topple over the edge of the table? It contains apples and figs, both overripened, but it also contains pomegranates and grapes. What are they symbols of? What is happening around the stable celebrates both the death and resurrection of Jesus. And so we have the symbols of death, the dead roasted chicken, the overripened apples and figs. But we also have the symbols of the resurrection, the grapes and the pomegranate. And the two pilgrims sitting at the table with Jesus are no longer spectators. They actually share in the death and resurrection of Jesus. And look at the two pilgrims. They are rough and ready characters that Caravaggio seems to have taken from one of the Roman pubs. The one on the left has a torn coat. And what about the disciple on the right with the shell of the pilgrim on his coat? Look at his red nose. He looks as if he had just spent too much time in the pub and has consumed far too much wine. For me, it is Caravaggio proclaiming visually what Pope Francis told us in the Joy of the Gospel at paragraph 47. The Eucharist, although it is the fullness of sacramental life, is not a prize for the perfect, but a powerful medicine and nourishment for the weak. And Caravaggio would also add that the Eucharist is for those two pilgrims, but also for all of us in our pilgrimage in life, who at times feel as if our hopes and our dreams are toppling over the edge, like the fruit basket in the painting. But this is not the end of the story. Caravaggio gives us a hint that there is more to come. Look at the disciple on the left. He is ready to jump out of his seat to do what? To go out and tell his story to others. In fact, in the Gospel of Luke, we hear that once Jesus had vanished from their sight, they, the two disciples, set out that instant and returned to Jerusalem to tell the others that they had met the Lord, that at the breaking of the bread they had recognized the risen Lord present in their midst. They were going to go out to tell them that through the Eucharist we celebrate the death and resurrection of Jesus, which brings back our hopes and our dreams, renews our hopes and our dreams, so much so that those who were sad and downhearted, now they become missionary disciples. They become witnesses to the death and resurrection of Jesus to all their brothers and sisters.